What's good, y'all? We got a new video. We're about to react to Kid Cudi sounding like Travis Scott. It's by BlackySpeakz. We're gonna see what he's talking about, man. I like Travis Scott and I like Kid Cudi, so let's see.
Now, Kid Cudi is for sure sounding a little bit like Travis Scott on this new album of his. Before you give your Kid Cudi is for sure sounding a little bit like Travis Scott on this new album of his. Before you give your take on what I have to say, I think it's important that you hear me out really quickly. So yeah. Let's talk about it. Now, Kid Cudi, the man is back again like he never left. Really been interested in where he would go with whatever he dropped next as far as release sound-wise. And since we finally got a new album from him the other day, actually about a week ago, now we have the answer to that question.
Hey.
Man on the Moon 3, The Chosen One, dropped the other day. And it's of course the answer to that question. Man on the Moon 3, The Chosen One, dropped the other day. And it's of course the follow-up to the second edition, which dropped back in 2010. So you can only imagine the hype surrounding this release. From what I can see, people are absolutely loving it. I personally enjoy this one a lot. The fact that Kid Cudi has been in the game for well over a decade and has been going strong for that duration and still has it in him is really dope to see. And not only that, he's also for sure adapting to this new generation sound in a game that's obviously very much flourishing, which is what I wanted to talk about. As a lot of people have probably noticed, this new Cudi album does sound very Travis Scott inspired sound-wise, and it sounds very weird for me to say it because if you're not aware, Cudi pretty much birthed Travis Scott. Not saying that in a condescending way, I'm just talking about the fact that Travis Scott himself has credited Cudi as his GOAT, aka the greatest rapper of all time, his #1 inspiration, the realest rapper / artist in the game, etc.
The second person was Scott Cudi, my favorite rapper of all time.
Scott Cudi is your favorite rapper of all time?
Bro, he's like the best rapper of all time.
If you know anything about Travis, then you know that Kid Cudi has always been synonymous with his name.
Man, if you gotta really listen to his raps, it's like so real. He's probably like one of the only like realest rappers like alive.
Obviously, Travis has genuinely just been inspired by Cudi as an artist. He's always credited him as that guy, paid his respects to him when he was coming up, every opportunity he could. There were a lot of conversations on social media after this Cudi album came out though. A lot of people, including me, on for example this tweet right here, highlighted the obvious influence on it after I listened to it. As you can see though, I brought up the fact that it's still a dope body of work. Kid Cudi being influenced by Travis Scott sound-wise doesn't make the project less at all. I'm only saying this because there were so many different perspectives, takes, opinions on the album, having that Travis sound sprinkled all over it. A big percentage of people refuse to acknowledge it because Kid Cudi is always going to be, you know, big bro in comparison to Travis. And yeah, that's absolutely facts. But what I'm saying is, this time, this moment right here, the teacher was simply inspired by his own student. That's really at the core one of the biggest takeaways from this. Now, Cudi himself actually spoke on this on Twitter after Complex published an article about Travis's influence on the album, and he said, "Just want to clear this up. If anyone inspired me with this album, it was myself. I only mentioned Travis because that was a moment for me that meant something." And then this is what Cudi said on an interview with Zane Lowe when he spoke on it.
Travis is saying my raps are good. That must be something that the kids like. I just like wanted to give him exactly what he loved about Kid Cudi, and for him it was these bars.
I think a lot of people look at the influence thing from a very different perspective in comparison to my perspective.
Like just imagine, like you're like, this is one of the top 5 artists right now. No cap. Travis Scott. Yeah. And then he's just paying homage to you, like just every chance he get. He just love Kid Cudi, man. He's my favorite, you know, whatever. Kid Cudi.
Or maybe yours, if you agree with me. You got to keep in mind that Cudi is a guy who's been in the game for over a decade now.
Right, but then again, Kid Cudi himself has had his own. He's got his own. You know what I'm saying? He's got his own credibility anyway, even without Travis saying all that stuff.
At this point, I think we can consider him some sort of OG because he's seen it all, he's done it all, he's stood the test of time, he's progressed, he's also shown growth throughout his career, but most importantly of all, he's aged. On the other hand, Travis Scott is, gonna turn 30 in a little over 2 years. He's not young like that in comparison to Cudi, who's 36. By the way, hip-hop aside really quickly, I think being in your 30s is nothing. That's still extremely young to me. I digress though. In comparison to Cudi, Travis is definitely way more relevant to this new generation of hip-hop listeners. He's also for sure Cudi's successor, and the fact that it's all coming full circle right now and Travis inspired one of his idols makes sense. The way Travis Scott was looking up to Cudi when he was trying to make it into the industry is the same way Kid Cudi is looking down at Travis, being inspired by him on this project. And I know that Cudi said on that tweet I showed you that if someone inspired him, it was himself. I personally think the influence is kind of undeniable just listening to.
Yeah, it is, because if you if you're inspired by Travis Scott and Travis Scott is inspired by you, then skip the middleman. You're inspired by yourself.
The project, especially on the track Damaged. Just listen to that and you'll see what I'm talking about. And plus, regarding that tweet, I don't think he would have said anything if it wasn't for that article Complex published that from the headline made it sound like Travis inspired the whole album. And just from a musical perspective though, the ad-libs, the very much atmospheric feel to the project for sure reminds me of something Travis would make at some point as an OG, kind of like Cudi. When you've been in the industry for such a long time like Cudi has, I think the natural thing to do is to be inspired by the ones who came up after you. This new album he dropped was Kid Cudi, of course, being himself, but also being smart and adapting to this new generation sound in a game that guys like Travis are running with. Things always somehow end up coming full circle like this, and this has been a very hot topic these past few days, which is why I wanted to give my little 2 cents on it. But yeah, what do you think about this entire conversation? If you've listened to the album, which I suggest you do because it's dope as hell, do you personally hear the Travis Scott influence that was sprinkled all over it? And also, what do you think about this whole conversation regarding the main idol in this case is Kid Cudi being influenced by his successor, aka the one who came up after him? In this case, that would be Travis Scott. Any opinions or thoughts on that in relation to hip-hop? Definitely let me know in the comment section below and let's have a discussion about this.
Yeah, that's gonna cap it off, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, man, and I'll see you guys in the next video. No, there's really nothing else to say, and I'll see you in the next video, man. Peace out.